Hi, everybody. Good morning. Mary Dean Esquire here at the wallstreetlawyer.com, coming to you live on blackwallstreet.com, Fly Nubian Queen, and the Wall Street. I'm streaming everywhere today. So get in here, drop the B1 in the chat. Shout out to Dr. Boyce Watkins for letting me go live on his platform. Let me make sure I'm streaming on the other platforms. Okay, going live there. We're going live there. Girl, go away. My cat. So get in here, drop your B1 in the chat. Let me know you here. Why do we drop our B1? Because we put Black people first. That is our thing. We got that from Dr. Boyce Watkins. Shout out to Dr. Boyce Watkins for letting me go live on Fly Nubian Queen. We're having trouble streaming to Instagram. Oh, let me see. Check. No, it looks like Instagram is live. We got people on Instagram. Okay, okay. So I guess I can only go stream on one Instagram platform at a time. I think that's how this works. Well, anyway, hit the go. Sorry about that, y'all. Come on in here. We got some interesting things to talk about today. So much has been going on with the dollar. We got J. Trey Trevor in the house. Thank you. Thank you for dropping your B1 because we put Black people first. You know how we do here on blackwallstreet.com because Black wealth is critical to Black power. So I'll be dropping in here, dropping nuggets. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you are. Let me know where you are. Let me know what your city and your state. Gosh, everything that could go wrong this morning is going wrong. Give me 1 second. Let me get out of here. Okay, no, that's fine. All right, everything that could go wrong this morning, and which is, I guess, the great for the topic that we're going to talk about today because the American dollar seems to be not doing what it's supposed to be doing, and everybody is ditching the dollar. We have, I think, the Russians are ditching the dollar. We have Russia's Moscow Stock Exchange has immediately suspended all trading in U.S. dollars and euros, delivering a major blow to the U.S. economy. And they are not the only ones, guys. They're not the only ones. We have Saudi Arabia ditches the U.S. dollar and will not renew the 50-year petrodollar agreement with the United States. Saudi Arabia will now sell oil in multiple currencies, including the Chinese, RMB, euros, yen, and yuan, instead of exclusively in U.S. dollars. So what does that mean for the American economy? What does that mean for the American dollars? And how can you make sure that you are prepared? How can you make sure that you are best prepared? So that is what we're going to talk about today. And one of my favorite, the guy whose post that I'm actually showing right now, I follow him, Johel Capital, and he said something very interesting. And I just really want to piggyback that. So let me read what his post was. For all those people who think the dollar will fall and America will collapse, stop it. Have you gone to these other countries? Do you trust China? Do you trust Russia? Do you trust India? Okay, go for it. Good luck to you. Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. I think you should buy 1/10 of it and call it a day. Bitcoin is the new gold. However, Bitcoin will not be used as a dollar or fiat currency. Bitcoin is the balance to fiat, a check on it. I can go way deeper into this, but it's too much to type. I get it. I was there on the trading floor, the wallstreetlawyer.com. I remember when they had a trading floor right next to the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street. And I've been there since the very beginning. So I get what Bitcoin symbolized. We'll get into that another day. At the end of the day, just keep grinding. Just keep grinding. Build businesses. Build assets. And it doesn't really matter what we trade with it. It can be bananas. I find the people that pump Bitcoin are praying it blows up and they can be millionaire versus just putting in the work. Does this destroy or even hurt the American dollar? No. Nations will still need the dollar to function. The dollar isn't going anywhere in our lifetime. Minimum, maybe the next 30 years. But to me, that is our lifetime. Okay? The next 30 years, that is our lifetime. America isn't going anywhere. Get back to work. Build your empire. Don't listen to this BS noise. That's his take on it. I'm not so confident in the American system and the American dollar and whether or not it will sustain itself. I have in my lifetime, I have witnessed highs and lows, depressions, recessions. I literally became the Wall Street lawyer occupying Wall Street at the height of the Occupy Wall Street movement. So I have pretty much seen it all. And one thing I have seen and one thing I have noticed, and I want you to take this with you, is that there are many people who thrive in the depression, in the recession, in the worst of times. And there are many people who do well. Many people who thrive in the worst of times, and there are many people who suffer and do poorly in the best of times. And so, one thing that I have always maintained in my persona and my business and my life is that I will never let what's going on around me in the day dictate how I show up in the world. I will not let that dictate what I think is my coming for me in the form of my blessings and what God has in store for me. Because as far as I am concerned, God is bigger than all of that. All of this background noise is simply just that, background noise. So I'm a firm believer in staying tuned in and tapped in to who you are, who the God in you, and you'll always succeed. And so one of the things that I do talk about in my book, How to Build a Thriving Black Business using the laws of the universe, blackwallstreet.com. You see my book here in the corner. And I've also dropped a link to the chat in the chat if you're interested in purchasing a copy of the book on Amazon, How to Build a Thriving Black Business Using the Laws of the Universe. And it is by tuning out the noise. It is by not letting the news cycle and what's going on in the air of the day dictate how you show up in the world. Okay? As long as you are doing what you're supposed to do, as long as you are preparing, you want to prepare. You want to prepare. You want to prepare for everything that life has for you. You want to prepare in the forms of maybe setting up a will, setting up a trust, setting up your estate plan, making sure your house is in order, making sure your business is in order, separating your assets from the loan on the mortgage, the mortgage, the loan on the car, the loan on these things, separating them from the assets so that maybe you don't lose your assets if the sugar honey iced tea hits the fan. But outside of that, uh, put your head down and handle your business. And one of the best ways in handling your business is to make sure that you have those systems in place. Okay, there's no magic pill, or the only magic pill that I am aware of is the pill of showing up, consistency. Um, consistently doing what it needs to be done, consistently showing up in your business. And interestingly enough, when you go get that job, you show up every single day, you show up consistently, because if you don't get that paycheck. And so same is true if you're gonna have your own business and create the job for yourself. One thing that you have to do is you have to show up in that business every single day. You have to show up day in and day out. And I talk about those systems that you want to implement in your business. If you don't have those systems already, your legal systems, your insurance systems, your financial systems, your tax systems that are really in support of your sales systems. These are things that you should be doing every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, every single quarter, to make sure that you are hitting your bottom line. And it's a numbers game. How many phone calls have you making? And, that's the whole Wall Street of age. They sit on and they bang out the phones back when trading used to be through the phones, banging out the phones all day, so that they could hit their numbers. And so my question to you is, what are you doing day in and day out to make sure that your business is going to thrive, not just survive the pending doom, not just survive the dollar failing, not just survive these instances, but what are you doing to make sure that your business shows up and thrives, that you kill it? Because that's what you deserve. That's what you deserve. And what systems do you have in place? And if you don't know what systems you should have in place, then make sure you contact me, schedule that consultation. I dropped a link in the chat so that you can do it. We have Miss Make It Better. Thank you for your comment. I'm lucky to be the only person in the room. Lord knows I need help navigating life right now. Well, that's what I'm here for. I do consider myself to be more than just an attorney. I'm an attorney and counselor at law. And part of being that attorney and counselor at law, because there's so much overlap. I tell people all the time, entrepreneurship is the ultimate faith walk. Okay. You want to talk about I got God and God got me and all this hooping and hollering that you do in the church. But can you actually pray up some bread? Can you actually feed your family for the rest of the year with 2 loaves and 5 fishes and so forth and so forth? So if you can do that, you can pray up some bread, pray up some miracle, pray up some bills being paid. If you can bring those blessings down from the heavens, now you have truly mastered your relationship with God. And that is what I am here for. That is what I talk about, because entrepreneurship is what? It is the ultimate faith walk. It is the ultimate putting your money where your mouth is, putting your faith where your mouth is, throwing your life, your faith, and all of you into creating something from nothing. And it is truly the ultimate faith walk. So I tell people, you want to figure out how strong your faith is in God, how strong your ability to ask God for something and to actually receive what you're asking for. Start a business and quit that job. Start a business and quit that job and see how well you really know how to pray. It ain't about sounding good and flowery and getting people to shout and jump down the aisle. That's not what it's about. It's about getting what you're actually asking God for. And can you do that? And if you cannot do that, if you need some help doing that, then that is why I am here. Thank you guys for dropping that B1. Make sure you drop your B1 and hit the share and subscribe button, because we're getting into it today. We're talking about it. We're talking about the dollar not being let's see, here it is, another one. We're talking about things are changing, but the one thing that you're guaranteed is that life will always change. Things will change. You will have days where you're up, you will have days where you're down, but it is in those down days that you truly find out who you and what you're made of. As a matter of fact, it is in those down days that you were given the nuggets, the tools to get to the top of the mountain. So I can tell you some stories. I'll tell you a story about my darkest hour. I'm going to dedicate this story to Miss Make It Better. How I actually became the wallstreetlawyer.com. On the darkest day of my life, it was the week before my 33rd birthday. And for those of you out there who are into biblical things, I call 33 your Jesus year, because it is that's the year, that's how old he was in the Bible when they took his life. And so I call it your Jesus year. I call it the year that you have your own death and rebirth. And I did. I died as Mary Dean Esquire and was born again as the wallstreetlawyer.com on my darkest hour. And what was it that caused me to die? Well, it was my sibling, my younger brother, my ace boon coon, my business partner. We were like this, y'all, like this. 2 peas in a pods. We were twins. We weren't technically twins, but by the time we became of age, he's my younger brother, but he's a man. So people considered we appeared to be the same age. And so that's just what it was. And so I got a phone call from him. It was the first time that he called me, and it began after that. The calls began and the journey began. But this was the week before my 33rd birthday. I got a phone call from him where he was under the influence of crystal meth. Yes, guys, my brother was smoking crystal meth, smoking Tina, smoking Christina, smoking crystal meth. And it was the darkest day of my life. I remember, asking God, what is going on? What are you doing? You told me to go. I came. I was living in New York at the time. At that time, I was living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. It was the height of the Occupy Wall Street movement. So I was working in the financial district, but living in Brooklyn. I just moved to New York City. And if you were a lawyer at that time, you could get that work, right? Because if you remember the Occupy Wall Street movement, at the height of the Occupy Wall Street movement, all of the banks were being sued. They were being sued by everybody because of those bad mortgages, bad loans. And so they were just being sued left and right. And so because of all of these lawsuits, if you were a lawyer in New York at that time, boy, you could get that work. And honey, I was working. I was fresh off the boat, looking for work, trying to figure out myself in New York City. So I'm working in the financial district. We were working broker hours. The stockbrokers will work dark 30 to dark 30. So that's what we as lawyers representing those brokerage firms and those big banks down there. We were also working brokerage hours, working from dark 30 to dark 30. It was doing 13-hour days with an hour and a half lunch break every single day. And so I began asking God, who am I? Because at that point, what I had known myself to be was the I had known myself to be the dean of law to my brother's dean of style, because we were the deans, right? Real original. I know that was our shtick back then. So as we were the deans. And so, I'd been pitching shows, starring my brother, created this show, starring my brother. We've been working together, working New York City together. And so once he called me while he was high on crystal meth, then and only then did I finally understand why he was unreliable, why he had been so unpredictable, he was so untrustworthy, and why I could not work with him anymore. And so that's when the prayer changed for me. The prayer became, oh God, well, who am I? What am I doing? You told me to come and I came. You told me to go and I went. I'm following your lead. I'm doing what you told me to do. Who am I? Who am I? And that's when I heard, my earring just fell out my ear. And that's when I heard, you are the wallstreetlawyer.com. You are the wallstreetlawyer.com. That's when I heard it. Now, I had never asked that question before. We have to talk about why we have valleys and why we have obstacles and why we have trials and tribulations. Because up until that point, I knew who I was. I was the dean of law. I was the renegade attorney. I knew who I was. I knew who, these names that I had given myself. And so when the sugar honey iced tea hit the fan in my life, and I realized I could not be the dean of law to my brother's dean of style because he was strung out in the streets of New York City on crystal meth, who am I? Who am I? And so that's when I started asking God, who am I? And that's when I heard him say, you are the wallstreetlawyer.com. Got the domain, got my office on Wall Street, and the rest is history. I ended up moving to the financial district, moving to Wall Street, and really embodying and becoming the wallstreetlawyer.com, my darkest day. Now, and so that's what I want you to be encouraged. Shout out to Shay Bay, who says, you go, girl. No, you go, girl. No, you go, girl. No, you go, girl. Because, we support each other over here. So I am truly my sister's keeper. And so things came to a head maybe about 3 years later. So that was 2014. 2017, I get pictures of my brother where he got jumped by 6 men in Brooklyn, thrown down a flight of stairs. A week later, after I found out that he got thrown down a flight of stairs, I literally fell down a flight of stairs. And so then I got sucked back into the drama. I got to fix my brother. We are connected. We are one. I am my brother's keeper. And so what do I do? How do I got to fix my brother. I got to fix my brother. He needs me. He needs me. And so one of my producer clients, shout out to Rick Mathis, told me that, Dr. Iyanla Vanzant, who is also an attorney, was speaking at Hillside Church in Atlanta. So I booked my VIP ticket to her show. I decided that I am going to get to her show. I printed out pictures of my brother's face. This was my last attempt to try to get him some help and get him to go to rehab and clean up his life. And so I print out the picture because I said, when she see his face was beat up. He looked like Emmett Till, God forbid. And I said, when she see this picture, she's going to say, man, I got to help this girl. I'm going for shock value. So I type up the letter, print out the picture. I'm ready to go. I get to Atlanta. I walk out of the airport. I look to my right, and you will not believe who's standing next to me at the airport. Dot It was Dr. Iyanla Van Zant. I ran into her at the airport. Didn't even have to make it to her event. Walk up to her after I picked my mouth up off the floor. Walked up to her and asked her, tell her, give her my spiel. My name is Marye. I'm the Wall Street lawyer. I came all the way to Atlanta so you can help me fix my brother's life. And when I said that, her son Damon said to me, the Wall Street lawyer, hey, I done heard of you before. And so I looked at him and I said, you heard of me for real, or you pulling my chain? So when I said that, Dr. Iyanla Van Zant bust out laughing. Once she bust out laughing, she said, I give him my spill again because, once you get them laughing, you can get them to buy. Once you get them laughing, you got them hooked. So I got her laughing. So I give him my spill again. My name is Marye. I'm the Wall Street lawyer. I came all the way to Atlanta so you can fix my brother's life. And so you would not believe the first thing that she said to me. The first question she asked me was, why do you care so much? Shock my draws. Shock my draws. I was not expecting that. Why do you care so much? And then the next thing she said to me, and she yelled it at the top of her lungs, she yelled, let him go. Let him go. Clutch my pearls. I was not expecting that. Let him go. And she saved my life that day. I went to her to save my brother's life, and she ended up saving both of us, really, because at the end of the day, you cannot do it for him. He is a grown man. And all you women out there know, from you women raising sons and to you women that's dealing with husbands, fathers, baby fathers out there, you understand that you can't make no grown man do nothing. Nothing. I had raised him. Yes, he was my little brother, but I can't make him do nothing. And so all I was really doing was killing myself. The only thing that had happened was that not one life was being lost to drug addiction, not one, but two. Two lives are now being lost to drug addiction, mine included, because I was getting sucked back into the drama, trying to save somebody who don't want to be saved. They don't want to be saved. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. Yes, that was him. He did not want to be saved. And he was fighting me to save him. And so it was a very vicious cycle that I found myself in. And so she told me to let him go. And it still took me about 2 years to fully let him go, but I finally let him go. And when I tell you, my brother confirmed for me this past winter that it was in my letting him go that really caused him to hit rock bottom. Just like Dr. Iyanla Van Zant said, you're propping him up. You can't do it for him. And so until he hits rock bottom, he is not going to want to change. And you need to let him hit rock bottom. You need to let nature run its course. You need to let his life run his course. You can't save him from his own destiny. And so you so busy trying to save him, you're really just enabling his drug addiction. You are the reason why he can't clean up, because you're propping him up. You're giving him money when he needs it. He ain't buying food. He ain't paying bills. He ain't doing nothing productive. He's going to get high. And so all you can really do is walk away and let him figure himself out. And when I did that, guys, Iyanla Van Zant was right. He did clean up his act. He cleaned up his act. And I'm going to tell you what else happened. Dr. Iyanla Van Zant endorsed my book. She endorsed blackwallstreet.com, How to Build a Thriving Black Business Using the Laws of the Universe. She slapped her name on my book. She slapped a quote on the back of my book and strengthened my testimony, and that problems are merely opportunities in disguise. That if God, because I start from the premise that God loves me truly, and that if he loves me truly, and that my angels and that my ancestors want nothing more than for me to not survive, y'all. Surviving is such a low bar. They want us to thrive. They sacrifice so that we might thrive. And so if they are allowing me to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, if they're allowing me to suffer, if they're allowing suffering to be a part of my human experience, I understand that because they love me, that it must be something here good for me. And because I am committed to that, I immediately, when the sugar honey iced tea hit the fan, I immediately start looking for my blessings. I start looking for the rainbow at the end of my storm. I immediately get into, Lord, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this problem. Thank you for this opportunity that I know you're ushering into me. And this was the only way that you could get this opportunity into my spirit. And so I count it all joy. I'm not going to sit here and go into no woe is me. I don't know how to be woe is me. I don't know how to be, why me and why, I mean, sure, I'm human. I had a moment. I cried my tears. I've cried my many shared tears because life for me ain't been no crystal stair. But I am a living testimony that it was those very things that made me. I would not be the wallstreetlawyer.com if my brother had not been addicted to crystal meth. I would not have Dr. Iyanla Vanzant's name on the back bottom of my book with a dope quote on the back of my book if Dr. Iyanla Vanzant had not, if my brother had not got thrown down a flight of stairs and I did not seek out Dr. Iyanla Vanzant to save him. It was those very things. Just like the pastors in the old Christian church. And I ain't no Christian and I ain't religious, but I speak multiple languages and I understand what they were really trying to teach. And so when they all those good old, but I was born Baptist, I was raised Baptist, and all those good old Baptists, didn't he die? Well, of course, they couldn't put Jesus up on the cross and he would not be the savior of this religion had it not been for him dying. And so I encourage you that your problems are always opportunities. And so, yes, the dollar might be dying. Okay. Yes, nations are getting away from using the dollar. Yes, we have had a recession. Yes, we have had a depression. Yes, we might have another one. The sugar honey iced tea looked like it might be hitting the fan pretty soon. It looked like it might, but I want you to understand that is a wonderful time for us. That is because the last will be first and the first will be last. And it might, some things need to shift. It needs to shift. But if you are steadfast in your faith in God, if you are steadfast in your faith in you, if you see the God in you and you understand that if God is the ultimate creator, you too are an ultimate creator, and you have the power and the ability to create within your world, and you take charge of that power and you create the assets, you create the businesses that creates the assets and accumulate the assets so that you can have generational wealth, because that's the power that you have. And so what I encourage you all to do and be and see, that opportunities abound. And that when the sugar honey iced tea hit the fan, that we know that that's more opportunities are being ushered in to our existence. And so that is what I want to leave with you. Make sure if you found something here that helped you, make sure you hit the share and subscribe button. Marye Dean Esquire here at the wallstreetlawyer.com. You can follow me on Instagram, The Wall Street Lawyer. You can follow me on you can also follow my other business page, blackwallstreet.com, because Black wealth is critical to Black power. Miss Make It Better. I'm in tears because I know God himself led me to you in this moment. You're a blessing. You're my tribe. No, you're my tribe. No, you're my tribe. No, you're my tribe. Honey, we are here together. And that's what I love about the power of the internet. And what the power of the internet has really allowed us to do is to make these things an even playing field. There is no excuse. There's nothing holding you back. You are more powerful than you know. You have more ability than you know. And I scream that into you just as much as Dr. Iyanla Vanzant screamed that power into me and saved my life many years ago. You can do this. We can do this. You can do this. We can do this. United we stand, divided we fall. Guys, please also join my Facebook group, blackwallstreet.com, where I will be dropping nuggets in that group to help you. You can also message me in that group if you are having questions about starting your own business, if you're having questions about growing your Black-owned business, if you are having questions about creating a trust because you want to separate your assets from your liabilities, and so that creditors can't come. You want asset protection. Set yourself up. Set your children up. so that we can thrive in Black power together. Shay Bay says, I see your book on Amazon. I'm buying it. Thank you for the support, sister. I am my sister's keeper. We are all we got. And I just want to encourage you guys. Have always felt called, and I always say that my practice is my pulpit. I ain't got to be in a pulpit shaking, and I ain't got to be throwing the Bible at people. The Bible ain't nothing but watered down version of African spirituality anyway. And so I want you guys to get to the truth, cut through the noise, get what you really need. I got to put that back up because I'm in tears, because I know God himself led me to you in this moment. You're a blessing. You're my tribe. And I just shout out to Miss Make It Better. Shout out. That's is making me. I feel that. I feel that. And thank you for showing up with him here with me today. Make sure you guys follow me so that we can all stay in touch, so that we can be one together, so that we can be here for one another. Shay Bay say, this is my first live and you are awesome. No, you're awesome. And so the social media will try to make us think that Black people are all, that we have all this infighting amongst ourselves. They would try to make us feel like that we don't have the community support that other cultures have. The media, the news cycle will try to keep us in a state of division. They prop up people like Sexy Red and BBL Drizzy, which is why we're so happy that Kendrick came in and gave him all the business, because it is a new day and it is a new time. And the day that the order of the day is that the last will be first and the first will be last. And the order of the day is that what's right and what's true is the only thing that will survive and make it through in the new world. And so I encourage you. And if you need anything, make sure if you want to schedule a consultation with me, I did drop a link for my calendar in the chat. So feel free to tag that link and schedule a consultation with me to see how I can help you grow your Black-owned business, to see how I can help you separate your assets from your liabilities, so that you can make sure you preserve your assets and nobody can come and get those assets should you ever become subject to a lawsuit. So we can make sure that those assets transfer to the next generation free and clear, without you having to go through any more drama or trauma in trying to, probating the will, having to go through the court system and anything like that. So that is what I do. Mary Dean Esquire here at thewallstreetlawyer.com. We got cocoa butter, truth you speak, thankful, thankful. Thank you. Shout out to cocoa butter. Hope that my words feel like cocoa butter on your soul. That is why I'm here. And that is my pledge to you, is to show up. And so if I'm showing up here, sometimes we're going to show up here, do some deep dives into your business, some business nuggets. But every time I come in here, I promise you I'm going to be bringing you some nuggets, because Black wealth is critical to Black power. And I want to see all of you all of us, we will all rise in power together. Absolutely. So until we meet again, I want you guys to have a wonderful and outstanding day. And again, if there was something here that helped you, please make sure you hit the share and subscribe button. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.